The Arctic wind howled across the endless stretch of ice, carrying with it a bitter chill that seeped into everything. The sky was a deep grey, thick clouds hanging low, pressing down on the frozen landscape like a heavy blanket. In the distance, jagged icebergs stood tall, their edges sharp like ancient battle scars. It was a world of silence, broken only by the distant cries of seabirds and the groaning of shifting ice. But then, something strange caught the eye of a passing research team. A massive shape, barely distinguishable from the ice, was moving, slow, sluggish, almost unnatural. Dr. Emily Carter, an Arctic wildlife biologist, lowered her binoculars, her breath catching in her throat. "What is that?" she murmured, her voice barely audible over the wind. Beside her, Alex Torres, a seasoned marine conservationist, adjusted his scope. His expression darkened. "It's a polar bear," he said. But something's not right. As their icebreaker ship inched closer, the full horror came into view. The bear's once pristine, white fur was coated in dark, clinging masses. At first, it looked like dirt, maybe oil. But then the shapes moved. Tiny wriggling creatures covered the bear's body, latched onto its skin in grotesque clusters. Barnacles, parasites, and God knows what else. "Oh my God," Emily whispered. The bear staggered forward, its powerful legs weak beneath the weight of its torment. Every step looked painful, its head hanging low as if the strength had drained from its massive frame. It should have been the king of this land, majestic, untouchable. Instead, it was a prisoner in its own body, dragged down by an infestation no one had ever seen before. The radio crackled. "Captain, we need to intervene," Alex said urgently. "That bear isn't just sick, it's dying." The captain's voice came through, steady but hesitant. "Are you sure it's safe? That's still a wild animal." Emily's hands tightened around the railing. "If we don't act now, it won't be wild for much longer. It'll be dead." The crew scrambled into action. A rescue mission in the Arctic was dangerous, unpredictable, but they had no choice. No one had ever seen a polar bear like this before, and if they didn't help, they might never see it again. But as they prepared to step onto the ice, none of them realized the true challenge that awaited them. Because this wasn't just any bear, and whatever had taken hold of its body might be far more dangerous than they ever imagined. The ice beneath their feet cracked with every cautious step as the rescue team moved toward the struggling bear. The wind had picked up, whistling through the frozen wasteland, but none of them paid it any attention. All eyes were locked on the animal ahead, the great white predator of the Arctic, reduced to something fragile, suffering, barely clinging to life. Emily felt her pulse quicken. She had studied polar bears her entire career, but she had never seen anything like this. Barnacles clung to its body in thick clusters, parasites embedded deep in its skin. Some of them had grown so large they looked like grotesque tumors, their slimy bodies pulsing with life as they fed off the helpless giant. The bear's fur was patchy and discolored, its ribs showing through, as if whatever had latched onto it was slowly draining it dry. "Easy now," Alex whispered, gripping his tranquilizer gun. The plan was simple: get close enough, sedate the bear, and bring it back to the ship for examination and treatment. But there was nothing simple about this. The bear, despite its weakened state, was still one of the most dangerous animals on Earth. One wrong move, and this mission could turn deadly. The team fanned out, keeping a safe distance as Emily crept forward with slow, deliberate steps. The bear raised its head weakly, its black eyes hollow and tired. It should have run. A healthy bear would have turned and charged, defending itself at all costs. But this one just stood there, swaying slightly, as if it had already accepted its fate. Emily's heart clenched. "You poor thing," she murmured, barely realizing she had spoken out loud. Alex took aim. The dart shot through the icy air, piercing the bear's thick hide. The animal flinched, but didn't react violently. It took a slow, labored breath, then collapsed onto the ice with a heavy thud. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, the team rushed into action. 2 crew members secured the bear's massive paws with thick straps, while another checked its breathing. Emily crouched beside it, running gloved hands over its fur. Up close, the infestation was even worse than she had thought. The barnacles had embedded themselves deep into the bear's flesh, their shells scraping against her fingers as she examined them. Some of the parasites had burrowed so far in that removing them might cause serious damage. "This isn't natural," she muttered. "Barnacles don't attach to mammals like this." "Not like this." Alex, kneeling beside her, nodded grimly. "Something's wrong with the water. This shouldn't be happening." The Arctic was changing. That much was clear. Warmer temperatures, melting ice, shifting currents. But this was something entirely different, something unnatural. They had to get the bear back to the ship. The team